Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're reviewing NXT Stand Deliver for 2023. Now if you haven't seen any of my videos before, I rate everything on a 1 to 5 scale. 1 is the worst, 5 is the best. Let's jump right into this. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that the Chase U and Schism match was going to be on the pre-show. I didn't end up watching the pre-show, so that's not going to be included in the review. With that being said, let's go to the main show. The first match we have is for the Women's NXT Championship in a ladder match. We have Roxanne Perez defending against Zoe Starks, Gigi Dolan, Tiffany Stratton, Lyra Valkyria, and Indy Hartwell. This is probably my favorite match of the entire card. I think all of the women involved here went out of their way to steal the show and really show out and really show each one of them should be a world champion. I did have real questions. I didn't know who was going to come out of this as the champion. They all had compelling arguments as to why they would go forward with one of them. Ultimately, Indy Hartwell does pick up the win with the help of Dexter Lumis, which I thought was pretty cool, bringing him back for that. For that, I'm going to give this a 5. Like I said, this is probably my favorite match of the show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Next up, we get our obligatory In the Crowd segment. We see Daniel Cormier of UFC fame. It's kind of funny that they put UFC commentator and not UFC legend and commentator, but just a little interesting there. That's followed up with our three-way dance for the tag championships. We get Gallus, Wolfgang, and Mark Coffey going up against the Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius, going up against Tony D'Angelo and Channing Lorenzo, aka Stax. I thought this match here was just a bit of a letdown coming off of the first match. It didn't feel like this ever clicked. It felt like they were a little bit going through the motions here. And I like all these teams here, especially the Creed brothers. I think the Creed brothers are awesome. I love the Gallus boys. I love them in NXT UK, which I'm sad to say is gone now. Ultimately, the Gallus boys pick up the win when Joe Coffey comes out and pretty much breaks up the pin for them to get the advantage. I'm giving this match a 3. I thought it was good, but I kind of expected better. Next up, we have a 5-way match for the North American Championship. We have Wes Lee defending against Dragon Lee, not related, JD McDonough, Ilya Dragunov, and last but not least, Axiom. I somewhat thought they may have put the belt on Dragon Lee here, being that he's new to the company, has a big name, or even Ilya Dragunov. I love Ilya. I think he definitely would deserve this here. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Everyone in this was amazing. I thought this match was really good. Not quite as good as the first match, but definitely better than that second one. Wes Lee ultimately retains the championship. I'm giving this one a 4. That's followed up by an unsanctioned match between Johnny Gargano and Grayson Waller. There was a lot to love here. The brutality of it, the violence, the fact that they were willing to do crazy stuff to each other. Candice LeRae involved, her handing off the baby to what had to be one of their friends so she can get involved in the match, being as that the build-up involved his family so much. I really enjoyed this match. This match was awesome. I kind of wish they would have put Grayson Waller over here. I feel like he takes too many losses for as good of a talent as he is. I feel like he's going to get stuck in that Dolph Ziggler type role where he's good, but he's always doomed to put other people over. Like I said, Gargano picks up the win. Afterwards, we see a cool little The Way reunion with Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis coming out. And I gotta say, I hope one day someone is as happy to see me as Candice LeRae was here to see Indy Hartwell. This was awesome. I'm giving this a 5. Next up, we have for the Women's NXT Championship, Tag Team Championship, Fallon Henley and Kiana James defending against Albafire and Isla Dawn. This is another match that to me just never felt like it hit the ground running. It felt a little clunky at times, a little bit like you could see the steps, I guess. It's hard to explain. Like basically, if you ever learned to do any dance steps or anything like that where you have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, anything like that, it kind of felt like that. You could see him go clothesline, drop down, tackle, blah, blah. I don't know if I'm painting a great picture of what I thought during the match, but it kind of felt like you could see them going through, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It wasn't seamless. It felt clunky. It felt, honestly, like a training match should feel. Ultimately, we get the win when there's some back and forth between Fallon and Kiana, whether they should cheat or not. Albafire and Isla Dawn take over. They pick up the win here to become the new champions. I'm giving this one a 3. Thought it was good, but like I said, it just felt clunky at times. Next up, we go go into our main event for the NXT Championship, Braun Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes. I went into this match with really high expectations. I expected them to blow me out of the water. These are two guys that I think are definitely the future of WWE, two guys I could easily see main eventing WrestleManias. And I think they put on a good match here. I just don't think as compared to the Gargano and Waller match or the women's match, the ladder match to start off the show, that this quite met up to those expectations. I do like that they didn't go with the tired trope of having Trick turn on Carmelo. Trick actually helped him. I really enjoyed this. Ultimately, Carmelo picks up the win here, and then we see afterwards, Braun Breaker pretty much passes the torch, gives him the belt, gives him a pound/handshake. I thought this was good. Again, like I said, not as good as the unsanctioned match or the ladder match. I'm giving this one a 4. Overall, I thought this was a pretty good show from top to bottom. The 2 tag matches were probably my least favorite on the show. They both were kind of ho-hum for me. The 2 matches that I keep raving about, the ladder match and the unsanctioned match, were excellent. The North American title match was really good. The NXT Championship match were really good. And on any other card, they probably would be the 2 best matches of the card. But Gargano and Waller and the ladies in the first match definitely took it. Overall, I'm giving the show a 4. I thought it was highly enjoyable. With all that being said, let's smash that like button, share the video, subscribe if you haven't. And if you made it all the way to the end, let me know what your favorite match of the card was. Put it down here in the comments. My name is George Coles, and this has been my review of NXT Stand and Deliver for 2023.